And as you heard Chris Turner just report, Republicans are contemplating again removing their Speaker of the House, after that bruising government funding fight, avoiding a shutdown. Now, should Mike Johnson be removed? Let's talk it over with political commentator Daniel Idfresne, who is on the Davison Family Dentistry Newsmaker line. Daniel, welcome to WHO Radio. Good morning to you.
Good morning. I hope you had a Merry Christmas.
Had a Merry Christmas, Daniel. And I don't know if the Speaker of the House is having a Merry Christmas right now, but let's talk that over, Daniel. Is this the time for the Republicans to have this Speaker fight? What do you think?
I think it's a terrible time to have a Speaker fight, to be honest. Like many Americans, I was frustrated with Speaker Mike Johnson's concessions to Democrats in the Portfield continuing resolution. But I think opposing Johnson misses the mark for two reasons. First, the original continuing resolution isn't a Johnson problem. It's a legislative dysfunction problem that Democrats exploited because they had leverage. And the tides turned when Musk exposed the bill, effectively doing the media's job for them. And then also replacing Johnson will be a disaster for Trump's agenda. It would massively derail what he wants to implement. And I know the leftist media would definitely want to deflect from the infighting in the Democrat Party right now.
Well, and Daniel, I think that I'm trying to be devil's advocate here. People will say, though, what the Speaker did was he dropped a big bill on the desk of Republicans. He negotiated it with the Democrats, didn't get much input, and it just seems like it's business as usual in Washington, and maybe there's somebody who would understand working with Trump better than Johnson. What would you say to that?
I would say that you have to look at the political realities that Johnson had faced when originally negotiating the continuing resolution. Democrats had a majority in the Senate, and so if Johnson didn't negotiate with Democrats, Democrats could have just rejected it in the Senate. And again, Democrats had an inherent leverage because a spending bill is a must-pass bill. Right. And so, that gives an inherent advantage to Democrats. And it's harder to hurt the cats in the House as well. I've seen with the, 38 Republicans who voted no on a smaller continuing resolution, but it had the provision to raise the debt ceiling. So because of that, I think Johnson was put in between a rock and a hard place, although he did receive a political bone from Elon Musk because Elon Musk acted as the media, a media that's not ideologically captured would garner the public's attention to these port-filled resolutions. But when Musk posted how big the continuing resolution was, it shifted the leverage back to Republicans because all Americans, despite what party you may be affiliated with, do not like the pork that we have in a lot of our spending bills. That's legislative dysfunction, not necessarily a Johnson problem, like I said earlier.
Daniel Idfresne on News Radio 1040 WHO. And Daniel, at the time of the fight, I was talking to the listeners about the power of social media and how it's really changing the game in D.C. And I noticed you mentioned it as well, that Elon went on and, as you said, did the media's job for him, told people what was in the bill. It's really Elon Musk, X, social media in general. It's really changing the game, isn't it, as far as accountability to the voter of what's going on in D.C.? How do you think it's going to dramatically change the way that D.C. is going to do its business in the future?
Well, we've already seen a circumstance in which it does change the game in D.C. Again, Elon Musk posting that picture of the bill, and you could just look at the Democrat anger at Musk. I remember Raskin after he posted. Elon Musk posted the picture of the continuing resolution saying it shall not pass. Raskin called Elon Musk a fourth branch of government, right? And a lot of the leftist media was started to claim that Elon Musk may have too much sway over Republicans, when in reality, all he did really was post a picture, right? And so I think that's sort of a preview of what could change in D.C. It could really change the way, it could really fix a lot of, again, the legislative dysfunction that we have in Congress, you know?
I think so. That is Daniel Idfresne. He is a political commentator. He's on the Davison Family Dentistry Newsmaker line. Daniel, thanks very much for joining us.